How are we doing, Kansas Jayhawks fans? This is your host, Nick Rondeau, bringing at you with some Jayhawks Daily content. First off, I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to tune in. If you have not already and you love Kansas Jayhawks college basketball content, hit that subscribe button down below. We are so close. We're over 800 subscribers, less than 200 away from 1,000. Keep me going on this journey. Really appreciate the support. And if you've already subscribed and you're tuning back in, welcome back. We're talking about some comment section. There was a general theme to, the one yesterday. So I want to address all of them, but, we're picking out one, kind of what they're mentioning. Another portal hopper for KU. We've got a visitor coming this week for a little bit of transfer portal as it is officially open. People are committing. People are hopping in. People are doing their visits. They're doing a lot. And just some general KU news at the end, talking about this year's class, next year, talking about it all. So stay tuned to catch it all, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. But yeah, I kind of want to mention. So it was an interesting comment because it was at DK for KU, and they mentioned how we never have true height, and I mean that by Flory Badunga. He was listed at 6'9", and he was a little bit shorter than that, but he had a wingspan that kind of made him a center. And we've had a few true centers over the years. Azubuike, great, true center that we had. That was, obviously, Joe Withy. you gotta back that guy, legend. With all the blocks. That's why Flory Badunga is trying to catch him. He had no chance of catching him. He was too big of a defender, clearly, which is actually crazy how far off he was from his blocking record in a single season. It's unbelievable because, Defensive Player of the Year, finalist for the nation, Defensive Player of the Year for the Big 12. I mean, it's kind of astounding. But to that point, I mentioned what I was talking about yesterday. Adkins is similar-ish to a Flory Badunga. I don't think he's got quite the athleticism. But another undersized center. And are we going to have another true undersized? I mean, we played Landon Lucas at, we played KJ Adams at the center. He was 6'7" for a period of time. Jamari Traylor I think is listed at 6'9", but he was small. Like, we've played small lineups. Bill likes, versatility in an aspect, but sometimes you get bullied sometimes. You get out rebounded. You have to out hustle if you really are giving up that much size, and you can't afford to give up that much size sometimes. There are teams that they will absolutely punish you if you're that undersized. I'm thinking of Arizona. Like, they did not allow anyone to grab, reasonable boards with Big Mo at the center position over 7 feet, Koa working, Tobe working hard, all these guys, big, beefy guys that, yes, a couple of them are not the tallest guys in the world, but they make up for it in something else, in general strength and things like that, which KU has not had the most success in. So this transfer portal, I think it's going to be pretty crucial that we find a player that can actually help us address that issue, which is just like Paul Mbia getting in. Like, you saw an impact that he had different from Flory. He wasn't as impactful of a defender, but he got a lot more of like the easier rebounds. Just like his hands were kind of like right by the rim, grabbing quick ones off the board. Those are things that we don't see as much with Flory. Like, he's got to put a little bit more effort into that, beat the other guy. It makes life a little bit harder. So this time around, Bill, please just get another center who's like 6'11", 6'10 plus. Just a couple of them. You need a couple of those guys because you have to rotate big men. They just get tired. They get bullied. Like, playing in the paint, are you kidding me? I know some people play pickup. You play in the paint, it's like playing 3 basketball games in one sometimes. These guards get to dribble out at the wing, I get to play a little bit of both, but I just think like there's so much more of like a difficulty on your body, a toll that you're kind of paying. You're giving up size too. It puts a whole lot more on, that person's shoulders. So I thought it was a great comment. I really do appreciate how, like, this is what we're recognizing. This is what Bill does. He plays smaller centers. Well, let's find at least a couple of taller ones. Let's see what they can do, because we've seen Bill with the 7-footers and Azubuike with that team, number 1 in the nation. We were talking about Withy, went to the Natty. Like, these are clear formats that work. Like Joel Embiid, we had a fantastic team. He was almost 7 feet, I believe, at that time. He was still growing pretty much, but like the teams had potential to really take off, and we're just hoping that this portal season, that this we can shop pretty well. So just hoping for that. Next up, we're talking about a little bit of portal hopping. This is no surprise, but Jamar McDowell did enter the portal shortly after the video came out yesterday. He gave a nice tribute to Kansas, saying, "Thank you so much. I've learned so much. It's been nothing. Nothing will ever compare to playing at Allen Fieldhouse. It is, a memory seared in his brain. How could it not be? Allen Fieldhouse is amazing. He played great at Allen Fieldhouse. Like, it sucks. I didn't want to see him go. And again, just because you hop in the portal doesn't mean you're gone. It's very true. There's a good chance of it, but it's disappointing. We're really, really not looking at like almost any retained talent right now. We're looking at potentially, Cole Rosario, fingers crossed, has still not entered the portal. And the fact that like we're really holding on to that one, like everyone knows this was a very big pro Cole Rosario podcast. Well, I was pushing for him real hard to stay, but the fact that like we're really pushing that hard for literally just like one person to stay on this team, that's a bit of a shock to me. And people are saying, even in the comments, like, well, fourth place, third or fourth place, and second round exit. We need new players. They're not good enough. They were good enough. We just didn't have the depth that we quite needed. We didn't get the performances. We lost on a buzzer beater to go in the second round. We easily could have been in the Sweet 16, easily, and I think that would have changed a lot of people's kind of ideas and looks about what this Kansas team produced this season. So, but beyond that, yeah, McDowell entering it's a hit because it was a key bench player that you knew Bill, knew how to play in Allen Fieldhouse, knew how to play in conference as well. Not so good, but he knew how to play it when he was on the road. But it was at least another piece that you didn't have to worry about getting. Well, now we're going to have to get another piece if he doesn't come back. And it's not the worst thing in the world. It just means we better hit. And that's something, to me, it's just a bigger risk because we haven't been hitting. We have not been hitting on a lot of transfers. We've not been hitting on, these stud freshmen particularly. Like, in some, like, I think more so the transfers is more what I'm worried about. We just have not been hitting on them. Look at the past couple of years with Bill Self, and you tell me who's hit. The two, Melvin Council and Hunter Dickinson, is that it? And Hunter Dickinson plagued kind of the team just based on like what he did to what he shifted our team into. So it's just hard. It's just hard to the fact that like we are now putting our eggs in a different basket, a basket that has not worked for us, and now we're going to get what we're going to get. Well, Jamar McDowell, if you want to come back, door's always open. But Elmarco, Jamari, the combo of Jamarco, gone. There goes the bench. Bryson Tiller, Flora Badunga, gone. Paul and Bia, gone. It's disappointing. Just everyone's hopping. Everyone. But next up, we're talking about a visitor coming into town. This is big news. The transfer portal's open, so people are showing up. They're talking about it. UNC Asheville's Cameron Taylor is visiting this week, and Cameron Taylor had an excellent season. He was a sophomore, played 2 years at UNC Asheville. First year was a sixth man, came off the bench, had a pretty solid year, like 9 points his freshman season, but just took a gigantic leap, starting almost every single game. Averaging 19 points on 53% shooting. Inside the arc, 28% from three, 14 field goal attempts a game. Like the key, I think I like about Taylor, and again, who knows if he's coming, and who knows, if he'll be a great fit or anything. It's a pretty big conference jump. You saw Melvin kind of do it. You also kind of see him gas out in some ways, but he's a 6'7" kind of wing guard. He's been 32 games, 27 of them. He scored 20 or more points. That's fantastic. He also had a season high 35 late in the season, right around the tournament time, I believe. And he was, only held to single digits 4 times. I just think like this could be a very crucial player for Kansas potentially. He's an interesting prospect, of a portal addition. He's not the highest ranking, player in the transfer portal by no means. He's like 224 according to 24/7 Sports. He's 47th shooting guard. He's at that wing guard kind of combo, and he did it in the Big South. Is that enough to do it in the Big 12? Well, I don't know, but people have done much bigger leaps. Like Dalton Connect, in the Big Sky, than going to Tennessee and just being a lottery pick and being a phenomenal scorer. Like people can do it for sure. You just have to be ready to take that next step. And this guy's an interesting kind of addition. It would be good because we need a lot of guards, we need a lot of wings, we need a lot of bigs. We don't have a lot of players. We've talked about this. We don't really have any players on the team right now. Our starting lineup would be Talon Kinney, Cole Rosario, maybe. He's still a temporary. Samis Calderon starting at the 3. Adkins at the 5. We know that. And yeah, Trent Perry at the 4. A 4 starting freshman. Like we need a lot more players. We need, obviously the portal's open. We're going to be replacing them. We're going to be getting plenty of players. It looks like there's almost 8 opportunities available for players, which is a pretty high volume. But Cameron Taylor could be one of them. He's an interesting guy. I don't always just love going for the top, the power school teams, the guys who didn't get their minutes. Sometimes guys like that, they're great additions. They can be crucial for the team. They didn't get their fair look. But some of these guys, they do get a fair look. They just want to leave, and they kind of just get this attitude that, like, I was at a power conference school. I was here before. I'll be at another school again. Like, that continues to go. This guy, he's at least a sophomore, played at a small school for 2 years. Shows like there's some leveling up. There's some loyalty. Like, look at what Melvin, kind of felt from it. He felt different because he worked to that team. He worked to get that point, and he took advantage completely and was a great addition for us. So I think it's out there. I think there's definitely some great portal additions out there, whether it's this player Cameron Taylor or not. I think there's going to be a great step up player for us that is going to be playing in a lower conference that we should really identify and utilize in a great fashion. So I'm excited for this portal season. I know you guys are. We're going to keep talking about it all the time. And then last up, just a little bit of the KU news, what's been going on, some bigger, storylines that have been emerging. One of them is Flory has a visit scheduled for this week. I believe he's visiting St. John's. I believe he's visiting Louisville. But I'm hearing that at this point, the crystal ball is predicting Flory Bidunga is staying in the Big 12 and going to Texas Tech. That one would really hurt. I'm not gonna lie. That one would suck because if it's in conference, fine. Texas Tech, that's a tough one. You just another really great team. You didn't think he was going to go to a bad team or anything like that, but you just hoped kind of he just makes Cincinnati better or something. I don't know. If you're gonna stay in conference, Texas Tech, that's a tough one. But nothing's decided. He's got a couple of visits. We'll see where Flory goes. Again, he's still hearing from the NBA, like, hey, yeah, you could be this pick. I don't think he's going to the NBA, but he'll get a bunch of money to stay in college. He'll say, hey, Kansas, this is if he's a decent person, he'll say, hey, Kansas, this is what I got offered. Can you match it or get close? Or match it or exceed. Who knows with him? You never know. But that's Flory news. We're verging away from he's no longer KU news. I will say that. I'm keeping an eye because the portal doesn't mean you're gone quite yet. It doesn't mean you're gone. So in that aspect, we're going to keep talking about Flory. But in other KU news, Javon Bardwell, a 2027 class player, is looking very, very heavily into reclassifying into this next season, which would be huge news. That's another big wing. He has great size. He's about 6'7" as well, still growing. I really like if he can reclassify, especially given all of the portal additions that we're getting now. I think he would be a crucial get for us long term. This early, just because he was a fascinating player. He was no scrub where he came from. He was actually a very top, kind of looked player. I just think I love a New York guard wing type player. He's a 5-star prospect. He was in the top 20, ranks nationally for that class, getting offers from everywhere. I just think I like what he can do. He can initiate the offense off his own dribble. He can play off ball pretty well. You know, he's a great passer. That's something that I think we kind of didn't see a great deal of. Like, we were turning the ball over, in my opinion, way too much. About 11, 12 times is too much in a game. Keep it under 10. He seems like he's a very talented player that has got a good basketball IQ. Obviously, a great athlete and a great motor. Seen some highlight dunks from him at his time in high school. But I think he's getting his confidence. He'll get a little bit of a jumper. And if he can really reclassify and add to this team, I'm very excited for that. So that's another, big news coming from Javon Bardwell. Very excited for that. And, in other KU news, we brought it up yesterday, Cyril Sompto for Georgia. He actually, he messaged, or he re-engineered, whatever you want to call it. When he entered the portal, he entered the portal. That's separate. But then, more recently, as of yesterday, he said, I'm going in with a do not contact tag. Well, that's much different. Do not contact typically means I know exactly where I'm going. You don't need to talk to me. I'm just finalizing, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. That's typically, from what I believe, what it is. It's typically when a coach, goes to a place and a player is following the coach there, they put on a do not contact. Well, Sompto put one on. They said there was mutual interest with Kansas. Who knows? I mean, it could be with anyone, but it was interesting that he puts a do not contact tag on because it seems like he's off the board already. So I don't know where he will go, when he will announce it, but that is something to keep the eyes on because I know that there was mutual interest between him. We're going to be looking at plenty of potential portal updates, what my sources are hearing as well. We'll talk about some more tomorrow. If we get a little slower news day for the Jamar McDowell portal hopping, and obviously you got to talk about a visitor coming in town. But, we've got plenty of players to be looking at. I'm just excited to see who we end up getting. A lot of good portal additions. People just keep hopping in. So, the chances of us hitting, I think, are just a little bit higher. There's a couple more players in there. We have to be getting more transfers this year just based on what our roster construction looks like. And, one to look out for. I'll give you one name. One name for, John Blackwell, Wisconsin. That guy was a killer guard, great shooter, plays hard on defense. John Blackwell. We'll look into it. I'm hoping that's someone we're keeping an eye on. Thank you guys so much for continuing to tune in. I'll be continuing to produce plenty of portal updates, portal, envisions, crystal ball predictions, whatever you guys like. I'm checking them all out, and I'm talking about them here on the Jayhawks Daily podcast. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Keep going. We're looking to get to 1,000. Thank you guys for continuing to watch, continuing to comment. Let me know your guys' thoughts. What do you feel about Jamar McDowell taking off? What do you feel about a new visitor? Check out Cameron Taylor. What do you think he could be a good addition for us? About Flory maybe going to Texas Tech. Let me know anything in the comment section down below, and maybe we'll bring it up on an episode this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And Rock Chalk, go Jayhawks.